We got the newest Xbox Game Pass announcement. Aaron Greenberg talks about how there's even more games we don't know about that are in the works, plus a lot more. So let's get into it. So we have gotten July's first half of the month announcement for Xbox Game Pass games. There's actually a pretty big amount of games here, but nothing really that's crazy that stands out. There's definitely some games that have been on there previously in the way of the Yakuza games, Yakuza 0, Yakuza Kiwami, and Yakuza Kiwami 2. But there is some stuff here, some interesting ones with like Power Wash Simulator. But let's go through all the games that are going to be available starting in the first half of July. So available right now today is Last Call BBS, and this is a game that was shown off at ID at Xbox. And you can see it here. It is like a retro computer puzzle game where you're solving these puzzles for this computer and going through and just doing different tasks to get through the game. That one was like putting a transformer together, and you can see kind of like the complete retro look of the entire game itself. So if you're into that style of stuff, you're into puzzle games, this may be the one for you. Then you have again Yakuza 0, Yakuza Kiwami, and Yakuza Kiwami 2, all coming to cloud, console, and PC. And I believe these were all previously on Game Pass before. They're just now back in the service. So Game Pass is looking like one of those services that games come and go and then come back again if they want to get more people jumping into them and checking them out. But if you're a Yakuza fan, you haven't played these yet, now is your chance to play them on Xbox Game Pass. And all 4 of those games are available right now today that you can go check out on cloud, console, and PC. And then we move on here to what is coming soon, which is July 7th, which there are 3 games coming July 7th, which will be tomorrow. First one here is DJ Max Respect V. Never heard of this game before, did a quick lookup of it. It is just a rhythm game, as you can see it here. You see the notes coming down the side. Looks like it can get pretty tough, especially if you up the difficulty on it. But if you're the fan of like music and rhythm games, this is one for you to be able to check out. Then we have a day 1 Game Pass game, and that is Matchpoint Tennis Championships. Now this is available on cloud, console, and PC. And right now there's actually a demo out for it. I checked out the demo. I thought it was pretty fun. I'm a fan of tennis, playing it, watching it, and definitely playing video games for it. I've always enjoyed tennis games, from like Mario Tennis to the Top Spin series. I actually still have Top Spin Tennis 4 for the Xbox 360, which is an absolutely incredible game. And we haven't really had, I think, the same quality of tennis games as we had back on the 360 generation. But here is one you're going to be able to check out day 1 on Xbox Game Pass. And like I said, I've played the demo. It is pretty good. It is pretty realistic. So if you like tennis games, if you just like tennis, you might want to check that one out. Then there's Road 96. This one here is just like a narrative game where you're going on a road trip. Then we have another day 1 Game Pass game, which will be available on July 14th. And that is Escape Academy, where it is a puzzle game and you're going through escape rooms and trying to get through them. And then as well on July 14th, there are 2 games here that will be completely suited for children. And that is My Friend Peppa Pig and Paw Patrol, the movie, Adventure City Calls. Now, obviously, for a lot of people watching this video or people who don't have children, this is not going to be the game for them. But it's actually pretty good to see that Xbox is taking into account that Game Pass is used by families. And if there are certain games that parents can go to and know that their kids are going to be able to play them and not have to worry about some of the things they're going to see within those games and some of the things that they will have to do, I think it's actually great to add these children games to the service. And then moving on here to an exact contrast of a child's game, that is Overwhelm, which is an ID Xbox game, and that is going to be available on July 14th. And it is an action horror world platformer. I just took a quick look at it. It's like a pixelated old style looking game. There is co-op involved. Fast-paced platforming, fast-paced shooting. Actually looks like it would be a ton of fun to play. Definitely a game that I may check out. Definitely up my alley with the graphics and just the overall fast-paced gameplay. I like the fact that there is co-op too, so if you have a buddy to play with this through, probably will help you get through, because it looks like it's going to be pretty difficult. And then we move on here to the last game, which is a pretty hilarious one, and it is a day 1 Game Pass game, and it is Power Wash Simulator. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I checked this video out, and it's kind of relaxing. It kind of looks like a game that may actually be pretty fun, just going through power washing. You get notifications once you've cleared something, you make money, you get stars, you have the different style of power washers and the way that you shoot the power wash gun. I'm not gonna lie, it looks actually pretty interesting in a game that I will probably check out, just if not only to get achievements, but just to see kind of how relaxing it is. It's one of those games where you just kind of sit back if you've had a long day, you've had a hard day, you want to just relax, turn on Power Wash Simulator and go ahead and clean some things. So yeah, like I said, there's a lot of games coming this month, nothing huge, and games that have already been in the service. But I mean, for me, the games that I'm definitely going to be checking out and playing are Match Point, Power Wash Simulator. Like I said, I feel like I'm going to sit back some nights when I'm just not wanting to watch a show, not wanting to play anything intense, and just play some Power Wash Simulator. And then I've always kind of wanted to get into the Yakuza games. I did start Yakuza 0, but never finished it. The story is incredible from what I played through it. So maybe I will eventually jump back in to check out these Yakuza games before they leave the service again. All right, jumping over here to Xbox Games with Gold. Now, Xbox Games with Gold is a pretty controversial thing within the gaming community, the Xbox community, when it comes to every single month they are announcing games and how it's really gone downhill. People not enjoying the games that they are putting out, or at least looking at them and just thinking they aren't games that are worthy of checking out. We talked about this, I think it was last week, where they announced the games with Gold for July, and one of the games within it was already announced or already had come out for games with Gold back in 2019. And comparing those two lists from 2019 to now, there is a vast difference between the quality of the 2019 games with Gold versus the 2022 games with Gold. Now, one of the things that they do release every single month with games with Gold are Xbox 360 games, but it looks like they are now ending that feature for the service. Now, here's a picture that was on Twitter. I'm sure everybody is getting the same email, but this is from the Twitter account Lebabbins, who is a Canadian Twitter account. If you're somebody who's looking just to buy consoles, buy games, get the best deals on stuff, and be the first to see them, definitely follow this account. It is a great account. But he posted this here and says, "Hello, Lebabbins. Beginning October 1st, 2022, the monthly games provided to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and Xbox Live Gold members via Games with Gold will no longer include Xbox 360 titles. We have reached the limit of our ability to bring Xbox 360 games to the catalog. However, Games with Gold will continue to include exciting Xbox One titles and exclusive savings each month. This will not impact any Xbox 360 games that you downloaded before October 2022. Any Xbox 360 titles that you redeem via Games with Gold before that time are yours to keep on your Xbox account, regardless of whether you continue your subscription. Thank you for being a loyal member, Team Xbox." Now, this to me is an interesting choice, but it isn't surprising based off of what we have heard recently about the backwards compatibility program and the stuff that Jason Ronald has talked about with just how difficult it is with all of the licensing and getting these older games to be functional and to be able to be played via the Xbox. So stopping them on Xbox Games with Gold probably just means that they've kind of reached the end of being able to get games to be able to give to consumers that are still going to be available because they have the agreements in place for the licensing and all that type of stuff. I think that for me, some of the games I was most excited for with Games with Gold whenever they announced them each month was which 360 games we were getting, because I love jumping into the back catalog. But I guess the positive thing here is that you're still going to be able to play these Xbox 360 games. They aren't removing them, they aren't taking them away, and everything you've downloaded up until October 2022 are going to be yours to keep. Also kind of tells me here that all of the chatter, all of the people asking Xbox to just end Xbox Live Gold or Games with Gold isn't happening anytime soon, as this is going all the way through to October 2022. And they also say Games with Gold will continue to include exciting Xbox One titles and exclusive savings each month. So if you're somebody out there who sees the Games with Gold every single month and just wishes that the service would go away and they would take whatever resources they have within that service and put it into Game Pass or put it into something else, looks like it isn't going away anytime soon. I'm guessing Xbox has some pretty decent analytics as to how many people actually utilize Games with Gold and how many people are paying for Xbox Live Gold. And for them, they don't want to lose a lot of those paying customers. There's probably a ton of people who just pay for Xbox Live Gold for some reason, even though it's pretty much the same price to just get Xbox Game Pass, and they may be downloading those games as well. So Xbox probably looks at all that stuff, and it seems like there's more positive for Xbox right now to keep Xbox Live Games with Gold than there is to take it away, as again, they confirm here that it's going to continue now with Xbox One titles. Now, sticking on Xbox games, we know Xbox has a ton of games in the works. So many studios, so many games within development, and it seems like there's going to be more games that we haven't heard of yet coming And this is just the beginning of everything that we have seen. As Aaron Greenberg commented on this picture here, I'll pull it up here from Twitter. And it was a pretty cool picture here done by Clobril of the Xbox first party roadmap. And you can see from 2020 going all the way down to upcoming, all of the games that are in the works, all the games that should be coming out. Right now, we are right here in the As Dusk Falls territory, as that is very soon coming out, and then Grounded, the official release of that. And then Pentiment as well in 2022, which is another game I'm looking forward to. Then we have the huge ones here in 2023 from Redfall, Forza Motorsport, Starfield, and hey, even Minecraft Legends. I think that's a huge game that is going to be coming to Xbox because it has the Minecraft IP. We saw how good Minecraft Dungeons did. Another game in the Minecraft universe I feel like will just take off just like Dungeons did. And then not last but not least, but Era History Untold, which is like the 4 times strategy game that was a rumored project game before that we didn't know a name for, and they finally showed it off at the Xbox and Bethesda showcase, plus everything else that is going to be coming after that with Deathloop and Ghostwire Avowed. It just, the list goes on and on. But there are so many games here, so many games that keep you occupied for such a long time, and it seems like that isn't the end of it. As Aaron Greenberg quote tweeted Clobril's picture here and says, "Thanks for creating this, Clobril. Love your work. Impressive list to see, especially knowing there's a lot more in the works that is not on here." So, I mean, he is saying there's games that haven't been announced yet, games that we don't know about yet. But it leads me to ask the question, what is Xbox going to do with all of these games, and how are they going to reveal them? Does this mean we are going to be getting another showcase sometime in the near future, hopefully in fall? That's what everybody is expecting. But Xbox has so many games right now. They need to just get some of these games out there, get them into the Xbox Game Pass service, because for myself, I never lack anything to play. I love going into Game Pass, playing a bunch of stuff, playing older games, playing newer games, but there are people out there who are only looking for those big first party releases, and obviously Xbox hasn't done that yet in 2022. But you look at this roadmap and the upcoming games for 2022 and 2023, there's tons of stuff there for everybody, and Xbox needs to continue to bring these games out and then give us an idea as to what is going to be coming next, even with all of the stuff that we already know about. The big debate right now with Xbox and their showcases is the fact that with the last showcase, they did the 12-month thing, showing pretty much only gameplay, which I thought was the right move. I think they did a good job with that. And then the previous year, they showed games that weren't coming out for years. And when Aaron Greenberg says stuff like this, you know that they probably had stuff in their back pocket that they were planning on showing off at some point, but they didn't want to do it because they only want to show off the 12-month games to not get people's expectations out of touch, expecting games or excited for games that won't be coming out for a very long time. So, hey, maybe some of these unannounced games that he is kind of referring to here, we will see at an upcoming showcase in the fall. All right, and to end things off here, just a couple of things I want to quickly touch on. First of all, Modern Warfare 2, the beta for the game has seemingly been leaked, and this is by Ralph Valve. And it says here, rumors suggested that the month of August as potentially the month players would see a beta for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, according to a recent Amazon product listing. But Activision has instead apportioned the 2-week beta for mid to late September, debuting first on the PS4 and PS5, then going to the Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Battle.net PC, and Steam PC. And instead of having the beta in August is going to be used now for multiplayer reveals, events, and information, and offering an exclusive look at gameplay for Modern Warfare 2's more traditional game modes, new systems of play, and a few surprises. So there you have it. If you are wondering when you need to pre-order Modern Warfare to get into this beta, it needs to be before September. This confirms two things. Obviously, the date, if this leak is true. So you have the early access on PlayStation from September 15th to the 16th. Then you have the open beta from the 17th to the 19th. So that first week is just PlayStation exclusive. And then you have weekend 2 with the crossplay beta, the early access September 22nd to 23rd, and the open beta September 24th to 26th. So this confirms, like I said, two things, the dates that I just went over. And the second thing here is something that I don't think was officially announced by Activision, but obviously we now know PlayStation is getting the exclusive beta early, and PlayStation still has those full marketing rights for Call of Duty, even though Call of Duty is going to be an Xbox Game Studios game once Activision is officially purchased by Microsoft once that deal goes through. So that's interesting how all this is going to work out. I think it will be even more interesting going into the next Call of Duty if PlayStation still has those marketing rights, if Xbox is going to allow that to continue in the sense that giving PlayStation the early beta first and not breaking the contract so that Xbox gets it, or so there is no early beta on a specific platform. And the other game news here is that Ubisoft Forward has been announced with 2 new showcases. The first one, which is going to be tomorrow, and it is on July 7th with Skull and Bones. Now, this is a game that has been in the works for a long time, was first announced in 2018. It is like a pirate ship paddling game. They showed off some gameplay. They showed off like the main hub where you're going to be walking around, being able to upgrade your ship and do a bunch of stuff in there. And people have been waiting to see more gameplay and get more information about this game. And this showcase is tomorrow, which I think is pretty exciting because I have a feeling they're going to show off a lot of good stuff to get people excited and ready to play this game relatively soon. Now, when it comes to the Ubisoft Forward on September 10th, that's going to be the event where we see a multitude of games coming from Ubisoft. And Steven Totilo commented on this, saying, for those wondering, Ubisoft mentioned Beyond Good and Evil 2 today during the Q&A of its annual meeting. The company included it in a list of announced projects that are in active development. It's still live, which for me is just great news to hear, because Beyond Good and Evil 2 is a game that they showed off a long time ago, a game that a lot of people were very excited when they decided that they were going to be making a second entry into the series. Now it's a game that nobody's heard anything about for a long time, so there's a lot of fear out there that the game potentially is just not being worked on or could be canceled in the future, but it looks like that isn't the case. Now, here is the Q&A from the annual meeting, and you can see a bunch of games that they listed here that are currently in active development. Avatar Frontiers Pandora, I believe that's a game we are getting this year in 2022. Skull and Bones, see more about that tomorrow. Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, a game that was shown off at the Nintendo Direct just recently. Roller Champions, I think that game is already out. I think it's like a free-to-play game. Star Wars, who knows what they mean by that. Beyond Good and Evil 2, and the remakes of Prince of Persia and Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell. And then they just go on to talk about also the future projects, games that we know that they're going to continue to make. Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, Tom Clancy's Division. Then you got the free-to-play games with X-Defiant, Rainbow Six Mobile, and the Division Mobile, and then the Division Heartland and Ghost Recon Frontline. So Ubisoft has a ton of games in the works. A lot of people love to hate on Ubisoft. They say it's just kind of like the same cookie cutter with every single game that they put out. I'm a pretty big fan of Assassin's Creed. I've loved the last 3 Assassin's Creed games. I loved Valhalla, put tons of time into that. And honestly, I find most of Ubisoft games I do enjoy. I really enjoyed Far Cry 6. So I always like to see what they show off. I always like to see what games are coming from Ubisoft in the future. So mark your calendar, September 10th for the Ubisoft Forward, where hopefully we'll see a lot more of what we should expect from them in the next years and months to come. That's it for me, guys. What games from the Game Pass announcement are you going to be playing? What do you want to see from Ubisoft Forward on September 10th? Are you disappointed with Xbox 360 games leaving games with gold, plus everything else I talked about? Let me know your thoughts on any of these stories. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. If you're new here, you liked what you saw, consider hitting that subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for your support, and I'll catch you in the next video.
We'll be right back.